What if the deadliest weapon in military history wasn't a sword, a gun, or even a nuclear bomb? It was fear. It was confusion. It was the subtle, terrifying art of psychological warfare. Militaries have long used these tactics, intended to reduce an opponent's morale and will to fight, to gain an advantage without risking troops or resources. We are counting down 12 brilliant strategies of manipulation and intimidation that shaped empires and won wars. And we have to start with a creature so fearsome, entire armies would throw down their weapons rather than face it.
Few creatures are as intimidating as the war elephant. Generals like Hannibal and Alexander the Great incorporated these colossal beasts, sometimes armored, sometimes fitted with spikes, into their armies. The psychological mechanism was shock. Horses often refused to charge at them. But this was risky. The Romans discovered that flaming pigs could terrify the elephants, causing them to panic and trample their own lines. Animal terror was effective, but the next empire turned terror into a political tool.
Genghis Khan mastered psychological warfare. Cities across Asia and Europe surrendered before the Mongols even arrived. The offer was simple: surrender and prosper, or resist and face destruction. The Mongols intentionally spared a few survivors after massacres. These terrified witnesses spread exaggerated stories that made the next city surrender without a fight. It was ancient viral marketing. Vlad III of Wallachia executed enemies through impaling and didn't hide it. When the Ottoman Sultan approached Targovist, he saw thousands of impaled bodies lining the road. He turned back. Vlad's horrific display prevented a battle he would have otherwise lost. But terror wasn't the only weapon. Sometimes the mind is won through myth. Alexander exploited local superstitions. In Persia, he adopted royal customs. In Egypt, he was declared pharaoh and son of Zeus Ammon. His soldiers believed the gods favored him. Some enemies reportedly chose death rather than face a divine conqueror. Alexander succeeded by manipulating faith. But as military technology advanced, the battleground shifted from the leader's image to the actual landscape. During the Boer War, a tiny British garrison built decoy minefields and dummy barbed wire. The Boers hesitated for 217 days, convinced the defenses were real, until reinforcements arrived. The Boer War proved small-scale deception worked, but World War I would industrialize psychological warfare on an unprecedented scale. WWII industrialized psychological warfare. Instead of boosting morale at home, propaganda now targeted enemy soldiers directly. Leaflets rained from the sky. One leaflet showed a German soldier's family waiting at an empty dinner table. Quote, "Will you ever see them again?" For already traumatized troops, these images shattered morale. Some soldiers even surrendered, expecting the rations promised in the leaflets. That constant barrage of information showed leaders the power of mass media, leading to terrifying new forms of state propaganda. After World War I, Germany was disarmed. To create the illusion of strength, the regime staged massive rallies using the Cathedral of Light, hundreds of searchlights forming towering walls of brightness. Almost every working searchlight in the country was used, but the spectacle convinced France and Britain to back down while Germany rebuilt its war machine. A light show helped start World War II. The illusory strength of the rallies led directly to World War II, where the Allies decided to fight fire with even bigger deception. After D-Day, The U.S. unleashed ghost armies, units using inflatable M4 Sherman tanks, so realistic that aerial reconnaissance couldn't tell the difference. Fake radio networks and loudspeaker soundscapes. These tricks convinced German intelligence they faced forces 30 to 40 times larger, keeping divisions pinned in the wrong place. The Allies won with grand illusions, but 20 years later in Vietnam, America would face an enemy that turned the jungle itself into a weapon of terror. In Vietnam, the Viet Cong weaponized uncertainty. Booby traps, pit spikes, tripwires, hidden explosives could be anywhere. The constant threat broke morale. Many soldiers turned to drugs, and discipline collapsed between 1966 and 1971. This tactic proved that a hidden enemy can exhaust a soldier more than a visible one. From the anxiety of the jungle, we move to 1989, where commanders decided that sometimes the goal isn't to frighten or deceive, it's to make surrender the only escape from madness. When Manuel Noriega hid in the Vatican City embassy, U.S. forces couldn't storm the building, so they blasted deafening hard rock at him non-stop. The technique worked again during the Gulf War, when 1,400 Iraqi soldiers surrendered to a much smaller U.S. force. Tiring the enemy out is one thing. Showing them you can strike with overwhelming force is another. The 21st century introduced shock and awe, overwhelming precision bombing, meant to break an enemy's will instantly. Its speed and accuracy convinced Iraqi forces to surrender quickly. Over 80,000 Iraqi troops abandoned their positions in the first 48 hours. The message was clear: you cannot fight what you cannot stop. We've seen terror, deception, and overwhelming force, but the ultimate modern battleground isn't the sky, it's online. Modern Psyops spread fake videos, forged posts, and conspiracy stories at lightning speed. Russian intelligence agents used social media to stoke pro-Russian sentiment in Ukraine in 2014. They created fake accounts, posing as Ukrainian citizens, and spread fabricated videos of supposed government brutality. Millions believed them, giving Russia justification to invade. Terror groups and rogue nations use the same tactics to shape opinion worldwide. From Hannibal's elephants shaking the earth to digital bots shaking elections, one truth remains: the mind is the ultimate battlefield. Comment which strategy you'd use if you commanded an army, and I'll reply with how it could backfire.